Hi guys, John here, back here with another one for you. Today I wanted to talk about, I wanted to go through some of the more common objections I get when I start talking about getting jobs and so forth. I tend to get a little bit of pushback in people who have different reasons why, you know, they can't, or they're having trouble or whatever. So I want to make sure and address these, because ultimately what I want is for you to get the job that you want or have the career that you want. And I want to sort of knock down every excuse or what may be legitimate, potentially reason why, that thing that may be stopping you from doing that. So this is one that I got off of my last video, and I get this from time to time, so I just wanted to go through it. So it says, how many companies lie about their intentions to hire to create a false shortage or to argue for more cheaper foreign workers? Or it's usually something along those lines, has something to do with fake job postings and so forth. Now, I'm going to be honest, my initial gut reaction to this is, who gives a f? It's not all of them. I mean, I know that. The highest number I've seen anybody throw out there was like 80%, which seems ridiculous to me. I'm highly skeptical of that. But even if it's 80%, it's still not all of them. And I had put this in yesterday's video, but I sort of edited it out because I said it kind of stupidly or weird. But you don't need 100 jobs. You don't need 50 jobs. You don't need 20 jobs. You just need one. So as long as there's one real one out there, then at the end of the day, that's all that matters. That's all you need to go and apply for that one. Now, of course, it's not just one job that's real out there. So my sort of old man curmudgeon response to this is, it's something that, I mean, why are you going to sit around worrying about it? They're not all fake. It's maybe difficult, and I'll go over some stuff about this later, but it may be difficult to figure out which ones are and which ones aren't. And at the end of the day, the only way you're really going to know is to get out there and apply. So that shouldn't be something that stops you from applying. It may be something that annoying you have to deal with while you apply, but certainly not something that stops you. Now, to be fair, I did want to go through this because it is something that is annoying, and I don't want to just give my sort of grumpy old man response. So I did actually look for stats on this. And as of yet, and if anybody can point me to the direction of these, but I'm not able to find any sort of reliable stats on this. I've seen plenty of opinions. I've seen people make assertions, but I've never seen someone point to a study that was done or give any sort of reliable data for this. So I'm not going to go through numbers that I don't believe, I don't have confidence in those numbers. So my take on it is sort of, when it comes to the stats, is if you hear somebody throwing around stats, be highly, highly skeptical when it comes to this, because if they can't point you to a study or some sort of hard data, some sort of hard, science that was done to figure this out, then it's a lot of times it just seems to be opinion and conjecture and so forth. So I wouldn't get too wrapped up in those numbers. Okay, so that's sort of the word on the stats of it. Now, why do companies do this? There actually are legitimate reasons why they do it. And you can sort of look this up and you'll find all sorts of things. But one of the really common ones is you have a lot of these recruiters out there, these agencies out there who work with companies, and they're asked to fill these positions. They're asked to fill positions. And as this one here says, recruiters never know from week to week what positions they'll have to fill. You can walk in on a Monday morning and literally have 10 new positions to fill, and it's a rush. Go, go, go. Get me 3 graphic designers, 3 accountants, and 4 underwater basket weavers stat. So a lot of these agencies and these recruiters and stuff out there are constantly putting out job postings and getting resumes and getting applications and so forth. So when the time comes for them to have to fill positions, or a company comes to them and said, hey, we need X number of this, that they have resumes on hand, they have applications on hand, and they can go to those. Now, is that a fake job posting? I could totally understand someone saying that it is, but if you put in your application, you put in your resume, you're in that pool of people that could potentially, when that happens, be contacted about that position. So I don't view it as completely 100% fake. Now, that's not the only reason why this gets done. Some of it is just purely scam. Some of it is companies are trying to get a gauge of a particular position and how many people will apply for it, how much they should pay for it, all that sort of thing. It's information gathering. It could be people doing surveys, or there's a number of different reasons why this can happen, but there's not a ton, again, that you can do to know the difference there, except for some of the stuff that we're going to talk about. So, again, there are fake jobs out there, but they're certainly not every job. And a lot of times what I see is people, if they apply for a job and they don't hear back, they just assume it's a fake job, right? And that is it's a completely narrow-minded view of the situation. And it's just too easy to just be like, oh, well, I didn't get contacted back, so it must have been a fake job. Like, it's too simple to just think that way, and that's just not the truth. What's more likely probably the case is this right here, which is that those companies, when they put out these jobs, they get so many applications that they're just completely overwhelmed. And this is actually comes from a study that was done that shows the average recruiter, or if you ask a recruiter, they'll tell you that they spend an average of 5 to 10 minutes on a resume. But when studies have actually been done to see how much time recruiters spend, it was 6 seconds. So the reality is that if you applied for a job and never heard back, it's not because it was a fake job. It's because that company got so many applications and you just didn't make the cut for whatever reason. You're maybe competing against 1,000 other people or whatever it is. So again, just be careful, a little bit of just writing it off too easy as that was a fake job. It's very limiting. And again, like I talked about in the past, it doesn't really lead you anywhere productive. Now, if you want to, there are a few things that you can do to sort of figure out if a job posting is real or if it is fake. And this is one of the best things that you can do. And this is what it is it talks here about the lack of an employment brand, aka digital content that showcases what it's like to work there. What they're talking about here, the one you're probably most familiar with, is going to be Glassdoor. And that's a site where they sort of review companies, and the employees can go on there and say what it's like to work there and give reviews and all that sort of stuff. So when they're talking about an employment brand, most legitimate companies are going to have some sort of presence in these different sites and so forth. So if they don't have that, then that's probably a pretty good sign that they don't, that they're not a real company. It's not just Glassdoor. They're Indeed. If you look over here at Indeed, Indeed has started doing reviews to sort of combat this sort of thing of fake job postings and so forth. So you can see reviews over here. It could be as simple as their social media, or their website and so forth. But if they don't have content out there on their site that talks about, we're hiring and what it's like to work for there and that sort of thing, then that's a pretty good indication that whatever the job posting is probably fake. Now, another thing that you can do if you're really, really worried about this, then you can just Glassdoor is a really good site that you can use. There's probably others. Somebody mentioned, in the last video, I didn't mention dice.com. That's another one you could look at. But one of the things that you can do with Glassdoor and some of these other sites that you're starting to see is you can do a search here. And just using Glassdoor, by the way, is probably going to make it more likely that the job is real, simply because Glassdoor does a lot of reviewing of companies. So it's just more likely that the jobs that get posted here are going to be real jobs. But one of the things that you can do is come to this more thing right here after you do your little search and go under ratings and do 4 stars and up and hit apply filters. Now that's going to filter out a lot of companies who just don't have any ratings, but also filter out companies that have low ratings. And so now what you're dealing with is companies that have actually been rated by their employees, which makes it really, really likely that this is a real company with a real job that they're offering, and so forth. So that's one of the things that you can do. And if you just sort of look at some of this stuff, And actually, just to show you, if I come up here to remote and do a search for remote jobs, and then I go up under here to the filters and I do company ratings. Like, this is a really specific search here. Okay, so there's still 23 jobs. Again, all you need is one of those jobs. So you don't get too caught up in everybody else. Just, you need one. Now you can do, if you're really worried about it, you can do something like this, and you can search Google for this company, and you'll see Ninja Cat here. And you can see it has a link right at the top that says we're hiring, and it has a page that talks about what they're hiring, their story, like it's content that explains what it's like to work there. It shows their positions and so forth. That's what we're talking about when we say them having an employment brand. We can do, say this one here, Volano, and we can search Google for Volano. They're looking for a PHP developer. So we click on that. You can see right at the top, careers. And you can come down here and they actually have PHP developer right here that they are hiring for. Okay, so if you're, again, really concerned about fake jobs, it only takes a couple clicks more to figure out whether that's a real job or not before you apply for it. And then you can sort of choose which site you want to use to search for jobs to help with that. Indeed, you're probably a little bit more likely to come across fake jobs just because that's sort of a wild west search engine, whereas Glassdoor maybe a little bit less, and you can do the extra research and so forth. So again, I just don't want this to be an excuse why you don't get out there and start applying for jobs. And you can, again, filter your searches and do everything you need to do in order to be able to find real jobs, PHP jobs, jobs that are either in your area or you can do remote, pay well, that sort of thing. Of course, again, if you want to get your PHP skill game to the point where you can apply for these jobs and get them and be able to actually perform once you're there, then my PHP curriculum over on Skillshare is a really great way to do that. It's basically everything that you're going to want to know when it comes to sort of core PHP and the things that you need to know to get a job and work as a PHP developer. Although this beginner's guide to PHP is 3 modules, has MySQL, it has sessions, it has cookies, it has sort of very, very basic all the way to advanced PHP. You have the object-oriented programming course, which is going to teach you everything you want to know about object-oriented programming in PHP, then a series of project-based courses to take all that knowledge and start putting it into actually building projects and building things with PHP. Plus, beginner's guide to HTML, my freelancing, my productivity course, WordPress, all that, again, over on my Skillshare channel. And you can get access to that channel and all of this training for nothing when you sign up for the Skillshare 2-month free trial that I can give you as a teacher. So if you go to johnmorrisonline.com/Skillshare, that'll trigger the 2-month free trial. You just sign up for that. You don't have to pay anything when you sign up for that. You get full access to all of the courses. Plus, there's 21,000 other courses on the site that you get access to. During the free trial, you get full access to those as well. You can take all of these courses in that 2 months and then cancel anytime before the 2 months is up, and you'll never pay a penny for all of this training. So it's a really great way to get the skills that you need without having to invest a bunch of money into doing that. So again, if that's something you're interested in, you can head on over to johnmorrisonline.com/Skillshare. All right, guys, that'll do it for this one. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.